The Best Way to Explain It, Episode 25. Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Best Way to Explain It, the podcast that's kind of like the clumps of protein powder that just won't mix in with the rest of the milk. How about it, Breckan?
Hey, thanks, Scott, for that wonderful introduction that you just did for us. You know, wow, your voice kind of sounds like a mix between Fergie and Jesus today.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, wow. And
that's
do
what
you
I've
have
been
facial
told.
hair?
I did. I just grew facial hair because
Wow.
my name is Scott now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally got you guys.
Yeah. Bamboozled them.
Bamboozled. Oh, we should have saved that for April Fools. No joke.
We should have.
That's a waste. What a waste.
We are a waste.
Okay.
Oh well.
Yeah, so we thought we'd try something different, let Breckan do something on this show.
Yeah, other than saying okay and questioning my entire life's existence after having the internet explained to me.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, well, it was pretty much after that he started to want more responsibility because he's like, whoever's picking these topics is terrible.
Yeah.
And, he vetoed that. I had like 15 more parts going for that internet series, but he made me cut it off at 6.
Well, I just figured, we would have to rebrand to The Best Way to Explain the Internet continuously for numerous episodes.
Would you not listen to that?
Just because of the longevity of the name of the podcast, I feel like I would still listen to that.
We do have a pretty long name already.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well. If I do recall, you came up with it, so I'm gonna blame you.
That I did. I did come up with it, and I do still like it. But
yeah, I do too. We were playing Call of Duty, I think, and I was playing Call of Duty. You were doing something, and you just texted me, and you're like, "Hey, that actually, you know what? It wasn't even. It was back when I was gonna do it with one of my other friends.
Yeah.
And then my other friend, he just,
he
doesn't
bailed.
go through on anything. And so I was like, hey, Breckan, your choice too. So you guys are really getting version 2 of this podcast.
The best way. But I came up with the best way to explain it, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was when you did that, I knew that you really wanted to do a podcast.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this other guy, he's kind of dropping the ball, and okay, Breckan will actually sit down and do something.
Yeah.
And so, hey, Junior, if you're listening, I love you, buddy. He probably doesn't listen. I don't know.
But we're gonna chirp you on the podcast just in case.
Yeah. He actually designed our website, so he's a good sport about it. So if you like the website, say thank you to Junior. I don't know how, but just before you go to bed, thank Jesus for living and Junior for the website.
Yeah, just shoot up a prayer to God and then shoot out a random ham radio call out to Junior. Maybe he'll get it someday.
Maybe.
That's a good place to start.
I think so too.
Because I don't know if he ever has a permanent phone.
No, I've had a lot of trouble lately. But anyways, wow. That actually, I hadn't ever intended on revealing that, but yeah, Breckan is actually he's choice B for co-hosts for me, so if that makes you guys feel any better about the quality of the show.
Ouch.
Love you.
Yeah, I feel like you just say that to cushion the blow.
But you were always choice A for friend.
Scott, one thing that I do when I get sad when you put me down is I eat. And you know what my favorite part about eating is?
What is that?
The flavor.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the blood sugar because it keeps you from dying.
Ouch. Okay. Diabetes reference.
Yeah, I had to get one in. I promised the listeners more diabetes jokes.
That is true.
I need to deliver. But yes, that's a good point.
You do.
flavor is one of my favorite parts about eating. In fact, you could say it is my favorite part about eating.
Well, nice. Why are we talking about flavor? Are we talking about Flavor Flav, or what's our topic today?
I actually forgot to wear the giant clock around my neck.
Okay.
But that is Flavor Flav, right?
Yep.
Okay.
You nailed it.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I'm not cultured. But I don't know. I just always thought it was kind of interesting how many different senses go into flavor. I took a science of food class in college, and I don't know, when I watched the online lectures, the occasional times I did, I always thought it was pretty interesting. So I thought I'd research, because I don't remember anything from that class, kind of what flavor is and why some people like certain flavors and others don't. So that's kind of going to be the point of this episode. So to begin, I want to talk about the different types of flavors that researchers say exist. So I'm going to talk about how we taste those different flavors, and then I'm going to wrap up with, what I could find out on why people have different flavor preferences, or what's been theorized about those things. Sound good?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah. Does it taste good, though?
I don't know. I'll have to wait till the final episode comes out, and then I'll taste test.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. So, flavor is defined as the sensory impression of food and other substances, primarily being determined by the chemical sense of taste and smell. And now I say or other substances because it could include things such as Tide Pods. Apparently.
Oh no.
Yes, that don't eat Tide Pods.
It's a dying meme according to the meme economy.
Well, it is a dying meme because people likely die from it. You know what actually has a nutritional value on MyFitnessPal?
Tide Pods?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Oh, dear.
Okay. So, anyways, both our senses of taste and smell make up what we think of as flavor. Now, not only that, but I guess the color of food is also going to influence what we think of as the flavor of the food, because we are very emotional beings, and color influences our emotions a lot. You think you see, or there's been studies that like certain websites are made certain colors because it makes you more likely to do something. Like an orange background makes you like kind of excited, and so it makes you more likely to buy something. I don't know. There's studies done that apparently orange makes you want to buy. I don't know.
Wow.
It's pretty interesting, but that also influences our emotions about food. So yeah, so first I want to talk about kind of how we taste foods, because obviously this is an important thing to know in order to understand why certain foods have the flavor that they do. But a common misconception is that taste and flavor, people think they are the same thing, but they're actually not, because taste is just one aspect of flavor, since as I mentioned previously, both smell and look have strong impacts on flavor, and I guess you could say texture also, but I think that's a different thing. I don't know. But like in order to understand the difference between the two, we're going to look at the 5 qualities of taste that make up a lot of the flavor of foods. So there are 5 different qualities of taste, which can be combined into any number of ways to make up the flavor of the food that we eat. So these 5 qualities of taste are sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and savory, or umami is I guess a different way of saying that. So I'm going to talk about each of these just real quick. So sweetness, it's usually associated with sugar, such as like fructose or lactose, but it can also be triggered by certain amino acids, which are the building blocks of proteins, and the alcohols found in those fruit juices or alcoholic drinks. So basically these substances activate what are called our neuroepithelial cells, which are located on our tongue in our taste buds. Now, I always thought that there was like this tongue map where like certain tastes could only be tasted at certain places on the tongue, but I looked that up. Apparently it's a myth.
Yep.
I
was excited to tell you that, but apparently you did good research. So.
Yeah, I did.
Dang it.
But I was thinking to myself, I probably should have figured that out before, because I've always been able to taste all the different tastes on all the different parts of my tongue. But, things taught at a young age are hard to be untaught.
That tongue map, if you've seen it, was actually thought up by, I believe, a psychologist. Either that, yeah, I think it was a psychologist. And I don't remember the reasoning, but I remember learning that it was a myth. But before that, I was like, oh, yeah, I really taste the bitterness on the back of my tongue and then the sourness on the front of my tongue. So I would like guide my food to those areas just to see what it tasted like.
Interestingly enough, though, there is some truth to the bitterness on the back of the tongue.
Yeah.
Because evolutionarily, and I think I get into this a little bit later.
Yeah,
we
can move down there.
I'll just wait on that, yeah.
All right.
You'll have to wait for more. Okay, so that's sweetness. Then there's sour. The sour taste is often found in acidic solutions like lemon juice or organic acids. This taste is caused by hydrogen ions that are split off by an acid being dissolved in a watery solution. So basically, sourness is just rogue hydrogen. Then there's salty or saltiness. So saltiness is typically associated with Breckan's attitude when playing Call of Duty.
I can feel the cheerfulness that you had when you were about to say that. And the fact that my KD is 0.75 does not make me happy.
0.75. Wow.
Yeah, I'm a failure.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's also mainly because of food that contains stable salt, which, as most of you likely know, is sodium chloride. However, it can also be caused by mineral salts, such as the salts of potassium and magnesium. So that's saltiness, and then there's bitterness. Bitterness is actually found in a lot of very different things, not the least of which is Hillary Clinton, apparently.
Wow.
There are about, yeah, no.
Hot takes from Scott tonight.
I had a lot of fun with this.
Yeah,
so there's about there's about 35 different proteins in the neuroepithelial cells that respond to bitter substances. Many scientists attribute this to evolution causing these cells to taste poisonous plants as bitter, because obviously it's advantageous to not like to eat poisonous things. So those animals which tasted bitter, when they ate poisonous things, would have survived, so it would have passed on. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And then finally, there's savory. So savory is, or umami. So the best way I've heard this one described is that it's like meat broth. If you've ever had meat broth, that's umami. Basically, it's caused either by glutamic acid or aspartic acid, which are just different amino acids. You find this flavor in meats, cheeses, tomatoes, lots of different Chinese foods, and stuff like that. So basically, it's what a lot of people like about the taste of meat. It's similar to saltiness, but also different, I guess.
It's the newest of the flavors is what I've heard of. Before there were just the 4, and then they added umami as the taste of meat, because I there is a different flavor in there, I would say, but
yeah.
But I do agree, like, you could probably throw it in with saltiness and just say saltiness is a little bit more broad.
Yeah, for sure. So those are the 5 common qualities of taste, is what they're called. But scientists think that they're actually going to be able to discover more. In fact, some think that we should include fatty, alkaline, which is like a brine, metallic, and water-like. So they think that those should also be flavors.
Interesting.
But as of now, that's not the case.
I would definitely say metallic would be a good one to add in there.
Yeah, but you don't want it to taste anything that tastes metallic.
Well, blood tastes metallic because of the iron in it.
I'm really worried for you.
Since I'm a diabetic, I like prick my finger and then blood comes out. So to like get rid of the blood on my finger, I oftentimes just like lick my finger to get it off. So
yeah,
and I eat human beings.
Yeah, that's also true. What's up?
Anyway.
Oh, were you gonna say something else?
No.
Okay, cool.
I just thought metallic would be a good flavor to add.
Yeah,
but
see, and the water-like, I always thought that was just like not tasting like anything.
Yeah, it's difficult to describe it because it's kind of like butter. It tastes different in different scenarios.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, so those are the 5 basic qualities of taste, and now that we kind of know what they are, we can understand how flavor is delivered from the food to our brains. So first, when we put food in our mouth, there's going to be certain proteins or chemicals that are found in the food. These proteins or chemicals are going to be exposed to the taste buds on our tongue. So taste buds are just exactly what they sound like. There are organs for taste. Each of these taste buds contain the neuroepithelial cells that we've been talking about, and there's usually in each taste bud about 10 to 50 of them. The cells form what looks like a flower bud, and has like a pore-looking thing at the tip that basically just acts as a funnel. So coming out of this funnel are taste hairs, which are just extensions of the neuroepithelial cells. And then there are proteins on top of these taste buds, which help to bind whatever chemicals the food has to our sensory cells, which are the same thing as our neuroepithelial cells. So I'm just going to call them sensory cells because that's much shorter. Adults tend to have anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000 taste buds overall, 2,000 to 4,000, not 2 to 4,000, but yeah. People with high concentrations of taste buds and thus high concentrations of sensory cells, they're called super tasters. These sensory cells are renewed about once a week, so they'll die off and then new ones will come. And most of our taste buds are located on our tongues, but there are some in the back of the throat, the thing that covers your windpipe while eating, and inside of the nose, and the upper esophagus. So I guess you can taste stuff up there.
Cool.
Yeah. And so those are taste buds. Food, the chemicals get exposed to the taste buds. Once they're exposed to the taste buds, the chemicals are released, and then they come into contact with a nerve cell, which is just responsible for sending messages to the brain. So the chemicals in the food activate the cell by changing specific proteins in the wall of the sensory cell, which then causes further activation of other nerve cells, and thus they begin transmitting flavor information to the brain, or taste information to the brain. Okay, and then there are bumps called taste papillae. Papillae, I don't know how you say that.
Papillae.
Papillae,
I believe.
Okay, well, if you want to go sciencey. These are on the tongue, and they transform the chemicals of the food into nerve signals needed by the nerve cells to send to the brain. These say it for me.
Papillae.
Papillae.
I believe. I'm looking it up right now.
Okay. These contain the taste buds and the sensory cells. And as you know, there's a funnel contained in each taste bud where the chemicals from the food can go into, ensuring that the sensory cells lining the inside of the taste bud are able to analyze the taste before the food is swallowed. So, in summary, the food goes into our mouths, then the taste papillae gather the chemicals from the food and have that analyzed by the sensory cells within the taste buds. Then the papillae, I don't,
it's actually papilla.
Papilla, okay.
Yeah.
The papilla takes it sounds like I'm just stuttering saying pillow. The papilla takes the information gathered by the sensory cells and transforms it into nerve signals, which can then be taken by the nerve cells to the brain to tell the brain what the food tastes like. And that's how we taste food. But there's more to flavor than just taste.
Boom. Game changer.
So the next thing we're going to look at is kind of how smell impacts flavor. It does so both physically and non-physically. And what I mean by that is that there's both a chemical component and there's also like an emotional memory component to how you taste food, which I thought was kind of interesting. Like I'll explain it to you right now.
Yeah.
So physically what happens is like when you chew your food, the air is being forced through your nose, which carries with it the smell of the food. And since the mouth and the nose are connected, this smell kind of intermingles with the taste signals that have been sent, and thus you're able to get a much more complex understanding of the flavor. So if you want, you can try this with like a bag of Skittles. So if you eat a Skittle with your nose pinched, it's likely all you'll taste is just the sweetness, and you won't be able to tell what flavor it is. But if you don't do that, you can likely distinguish it from the other flavors unless you're one of those weird people that think all Skittles taste exactly the same. I don't know. Where do you stand on that?
Depending on how I taste Skittles, I guess. I don't just eat one at a time. I put like 3 or 4 in my mouth.
Such a waste.
So it's kind of hard to tell. I do know for a fact that like the lemon ones taste lemony.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Maybe that's like the yellow flavor or the yellow color, and then the smell reacting. I'm like lemon, obviously.
Yeah. Could be.
As opposed to like the red or whatever. Like I have no idea what the red is supposed to be.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, smell's gonna do that, and I think you get that a lot with coffee. Like,
yeah.
Coffee it doesn't taste like much unless you're smelling it.
Scotch too. Scotch.
Yeah.
You can definitely taste it, but I think like something like 90% of the flavor of a Scotch is in the nose. So
yeah. So that's smell. But it's not only like a physical thing, but it also affects the flavor emotionally. So if you think about it, you likely associate certain smells with certain memories that you have in your life. So if a smell brings back fond memories of a time you ate a food and it tasted good, then that smell is likely going to cause you to enjoy the flavor of the food much more than if, you had no prior experience with it, and, vice versa. If you didn't like it, it's not gonna help.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of
do you ever have that experience? Like, is your favorite food maybe associated to like a good memory or something?
I kind of have the opposite.
Yeah,
but it's not like smell per se, but it's Chinese food. I had food poisoning and I still can't eat it.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's just I just recoil at it. And I just use the word recoil non-ironically. Not talking about guns.
Wow. Look at you.
Pretty much.
That's
yeah.
Cool. That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it just shows like emotional connections can definitely influence what you think. So not only that, but the appearance of food is also known to impact the way in which we perceive the flavor of the food. So there's a study done in which researchers used a red odorless dye to dye white wine, and then they had a group of professional wine tasters describe the white wine. And to their surprise, they found that these these were like legit professional wine tasters. They described the white wine in ways that were usually reserved only for red wines, thus clearly marking some sort of correlation between the appearance of a food and its perceived flavor.
Interesting.
The appearance of food causes our taste organs to kind of anticipate what we believe the food's going to taste like, thus triggering certain reactions that we might not otherwise have had. And the reason all these senses come into play is because all of these senses are connected to give us a total experience of the world. It's really difficult to disassociate one sense from another. So
interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah. I really want to try this experiment out now.
Yeah.
Mostly,
I don't know enough about
mostly
wine.
because I want to drink wine, but
I don't need an excuse. Yeah, so that's kind of the appearance. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about is why different people think different foods taste good versus some people think it tastes bad. A lot of this has to do with emotional reactions to certain foods, but there is a bit of science like behind why some people like certain foods and others don't. So one of the main reasons has to do with the number of taste papillae that one has. I had to like think of how that said. So if you remember when I said that if you had a lot of these things, you might be considered a super taster. Well, super tasters can taste bitterness and a lot of different things just due to the number of these papillae. And obviously, if you can taste the bitterness in something that others can't, you might tend to dislike it more than others. And okay, this is what I was going to say. So something interesting about bitterness that's totally going to contradict what I said earlier, that on the back of the tongue, you can actually taste bitterness quite a bit better because the tongues evolved to try and prevent you from swallowing poisonous things, which tend to be bitter. So it kind of makes sense that as a last line of defense, you're likely to taste the bitterness before swallowing. So there's no taste map like we once thought, but the bitterness is a special taste because it's going to try and prevent you from swallowing something that might, hurt you, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And besides the number of papillae, most of our taste preferences have to do with the environment in which we grew up. If we were repeatedly exposed to a certain food, we may have developed a taste for it, and that's kind of where the expression comes. But this isn't always the case, since there are obviously foods that we never come to like, such as, like, for me, I do not like cream cheese in dessert.
So, like, cream cheese frosting or cheesecake, you're not a big fan?
No, it tastes like cheese.
Oh, my goodness. Those are my two favorite, like, dessert things.
Man, I don't know. Cheese shouldn't be in dessert.
I understand, like, cream cheese is just this, like, special weird cheese that I allow within dessert.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. Like, I'm not a huge fan of a cheese Danish, but I'll eat it still because I like food.
Yeah, I don't have... Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just a thing. But
That's interesting.
Yeah,
sure.
but like if we associate good memories with certain foods, then we may have an affinity for them that others do not. So like for me, this explains why I like coffee so much, because I like to drink coffee with my parents growing up while I was talking with them. So naturally, like this kind of continued once I got out of the house.
Aw.
And,
that's how this friendship was born.
Yeah, I became obsessed and started paying way too much money for cups of coffee. So if it weren't for that flavor, I would be much richer today.
Dude, I definitely see the same thing. 1 with coffee, 2 with chicken noodle soup. It's my favorite soup, my favorite food. Whenever my mom cooks it, like I can smell the garlic and the chicken broth and everything just emanating around the house, and I'm just it like picks my spirits up no matter what.
Nice.
But I think hearing about how emotions can play into it, I think it's because like my dad hates eating soup when it's too warm out, but when it's cold out, like it's perfect weather for soup. And we would eat that right after playing outside in the snow, which is like winter is my favorite season. So like playing around in the snow, I would always be happy, and then I'd eat chicken noodle soup, and that made me extra happy. So I can definitely see how that's a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm trying to think of other foods that I've had kind of a good memory with. Well, I guess like frozen pizza, like Tombstone frozen pizza. I don't know. That was always something I loved. And like honestly, there's nothing amazing about it. It's just I have good memories with it, and I feel like I'm back in. Well, I was gonna say back in high school, but I was thinking good memories, so something else.
Hey, or like Mountain Dew and Doritos will forever be a Call of Duty thing, you know?
Oh, I remember
it's such a great combination to give yourself cancer.
I remember one New Year's Eve, I was like playing cards or something with, or playing like playing a really manly and not nerdy card game with some friends.
I'm sure.
Both male and female. No, it was New Year's Eve, and I was you
were hanging with the boys.
Yeah, it was probably a Saturday.
Okay,
undoubtedly for the boys. But no, I had a bag of Doritos nacho cheese, and just like by my side, and I opened it, and by the end of the night, it was gone, and nobody else had any.
My.
And I
post diabetes, I've always feared doing that, and I've done that multiple times.
Yeah, it's bad.
I just take out my insulin, and I'm like, all right,
this is happening.
Here it comes.
Oh man, that's funny. Yes. So yeah, that's basically the best way to explain flavor. So food has chemicals that trigger other chemicals in our body to send certain nerve signals to our brain that we either like or we don't like. And boom, I just ruined food for you.
Oh, thanks, man.
No,
actually, and this was partially my own doing. I kind of want chicken noodle soup now, and maybe a cheese Danish.
Oh my gosh, I want one of those things. The chicken noodle sounds actually pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That was a good one, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
All righty. Well, I got nothing else for you.
Cool, man.
Do you want me to wrap up the show since I pretended to be you? Wow.
I'll take your line.
Sounds great, since it was supposed to be yours from the beginning. Hey. Everyone listening, thanks for checking us out. Go to thebestwaytoexplainit.com/25 for the show notes, and bestwaytoexplainit.com/suggestions for any suggestions you might have. Today was actually an original one from Scott, I believe.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, wow. Originality.
It was my suggestion.
That's great. Well,
yeah.
We'll see you guys later.
All right, get learning.